So today we're going to talk about the Edgit Pro. As you can see right here in front of me, I got two PAS 225 Echo weed whackers. This is what we run. We run Echo in our business. Echo and Stihl is our top favorite. And so today we're talking about the Edgit Pro, and they only make these for Stihl and Echo, so I'll go ahead and say that at first. Haven't seen them make it for any other maker, so that's what we're going to be dealing with today. So as you can see, they attach to the heads of the weed whacker. As right here, they attach usually where the one guard before would, and it just goes based off of that. As you can see, the difference right here. There's a lot of one of my favorite tools I bought for the business, and it's what's made me different compared to the other landscapers around here. The proper way to do edging for lawns is always at a 90 degree and always clean on top with the 45. Don't want to do anything in between, no angles, no nothing. Everything should be straight and flat. That's the way we do it here. And this tool is what allows us to go ahead and do that. We got a couple videos we'll show you while we're working with it in the field, and we'll show you how I hold it and the difference it makes, but it's really good. Some of the benefits, as you can see on this one, it's kind of a disc. It kind of looks like for instance, like a lawnmower deck. And the great thing about that is that when you're mowing, weed whacking over the lawn, it sucks up the lawn instead of just folding it over like the previous, or just like one without it would do. So that's what really helps us. So all those really hard, tight spots to reach with, where you would have to get a push mower to do, you can now do it with this, and it saves a lot of time. A lot of guys use the edgers with the metal blades, and I had one of those when I first started out with my business, and it gets really expensive after a while. The blades cost, I think they're about $8–10 a blade, and they don't last very long, especially against the sidewalks. What's great about this thing, it uses the existing weed whacker string that's on the weed whacker, so you don't have to go buy anything extra. Alright, so I'm going to talk about a lot of the pros to this attachment on the weed whacker. Now, we got a lot of them. I've been running these on my weed whackers for almost 2 years now, and I just love them. It's my favorite tool I've ever bought, and I get stopped many times by landscapers and just homeowners wondering what the heck this is that's on my weed whacker. So now I'm going to go ahead and do a video for you guys. So as you can see, one of the best benefits is that it saves a lot of time. One thing that's great is that those hard to reach spots where you would use a weed whacker or say a push mower, you can now do it this, because what this does is that it sucks up the grass clippings, as I've shown on the disc, how it's kind of rounded on the inside. It sucks the grass up rather than pushing it over. One thing that's great about it too is that it's really hard for the string to really dig into the grass and just eat it up, because there's sometimes where you get it at that certain angle where that string just digs into the grass and tears it up. What's great about this is that this really prevents that from happening, and so it really just, the quality of your work looks a lot better now. So you can get things done a lot faster. Another pro with using the Edgit Pro is that it really saves a lot of money, especially when doing edging. So on a regular weed whacker where you got the metal blade to do all the edgings, those metal blades, they wear down pretty fast, especially along the concrete, depending on how long you're running them every single day. What's great about this is that it uses the existing string that's already in your weed whacker. As you can see, we use 0.095. This is a lot longer than what we're usually doing, but it just uses regular string, and it really saves money, because you're spending about $8 to $10 a blade, maybe even more, and those usually last a week or two, maybe not even that long, depending on how many yards you're doing. With this, you're just using regular string, and you're just going along. It's a lot faster, because now when you do the weed whacking along all the edges, you don't have to go back to the truck to get the metal blade to along the streets. So this is what's really great about this. Alright, now the cons to this is that it takes a little bit to get used to. Usually when I get my guys working for me on these weed whackers, at first they're really slow, but the great thing is that it only takes about a month for them to really get the hang of it. And so it just takes a little bit used to getting to. But if you're used to already doing it at a 90 degree angle, when you're weed whacking along and you're used to going like this, the disc only helps even more, because now you know exactly where your string is and where everything is going to be. And also, you'll always have that right length when weed whacking. Another negative is that you got a little bit of extra weight at the tip of your head compared to before, but you really get used to this. Since you're doing 90s most of the time, you're just dragging that along, so you barely even feel it anymore. So that's one of the great things about it too. Alright, so another negative or another con to this weed whacker is that when you're weed whacking, especially along sidewalks and around houses and cars, now that you're using a string, since you're going at a higher RPM, it flings rocks really bad. We've actually shattered a window for one of our clients because we were just going along and just that power of the string just flung it and just shattered a client's window. So that's why we run the lower engine powered weed whackers. That way we don't have so much power where it's flinging rocks like crazy. You can use the SRM 230. This is kind of like the SRM 225, but it's the PAS attachment where you can detach it from the middle. You can run a 230. I wouldn't recommend running anything higher, especially if you're doing weekly maintenance on the people. So I would run as low as you can. That way you don't have too much power where those rocks are flinging too far into clients' yards and houses. So that's another thing you got to be careful. Another con, when you're doing, especially along sidewalks and streets. Now, when you're along sidewalks and streets, you get those rocks that get into that groove. After a while, you start getting in there. So the thing that stinks about that is that when you're weed whacking, now you got rocks shooting up in your face. I've been hit many times in the nose. You name it, in my face, I've gotten hit with the rocks, and so it's not fun after a while, but you get kind of used to it. You just know when to slow down when you're getting to those points. Alright, so I hope that we answered all your questions about the Edgit Pro. There is a lot of questions that we got over this. Like I said, since I've been running them for so long, I've got to know everything about them, what not to do, what to do. So I'm hoping that I covered everything. If I didn't, we will do a follow-up video if you guys have any questions. So feel free to leave comments, send me messages. We will answer them as soon as we can, and we'll make another video if we forgot everything. So make sure to subscribe, and thank you for watching Ambro's Landscaping.